The 2015 elections have come and basically gone, but much of the year still remains with its challenges. Clearly, Nigerians came into 2015 with a nagging presentiment of danger. The year was said by many not to forebode well for the country. A primary cause of the dread was an election that for the first time in recent history was going to be too close to call, and happening at a time when other grievous issues like Boko Haram, impunity, falling oil prices, and joblessness were buffeting the economy. Now, the elections are over, but are these grave issues gone? To discuss this, we have Dr. Otive Ibuza and Dr. Paddy Njoku. Dr. Ibuza is the Executive Director of the African Center for Leadership, Strategy and Development. He is a former international head of ActionAid Nigeria. Dr. Njoku is the chairman of NECO and the president, International Institute of Leadership and Governance. Please join us in our discussion. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for being in our studios, Magoni Studios. The 2015 elections are over now. And before that, there was this bogey, this 2015 bogey. Everybody thought, oh boy, the year 2015 is coming. Something is going to happen to Nigeria. So now that the election is over, is the bogey over? I'll start with you, Dr. Njoku.
Part of the bogey is over. It's over. People thought there was going to be apocalypse, that Armageddon was coming to Nigeria into 2015. And we want to congratulate Nigerians in the first place that, as the Igbos say, that it is only a tree that you threaten that you're going to cut it down and it stays. It stays put until you cut it down. Any other living thing you threaten like that takes necessary measures to make sure that it's not cut down. I think Nigerians took measures to ensure that Armageddon was pushed to some other place, if possible, and not Nigeria. That proves that the country has come to be, and we should not shy away from the reality that we have to make it be. So, we must face the problems that face us on how to be and how to continue being.
In light of what we just said here now, that if not for because of the drama that we saw in the morning of the day of the coalition, the presidential elections coalition, that it looked like the country was actually careening to the edge, as I say, of a dangerous precipice. Something ominous looked like it was about to happen. And so my question is, could there not have been real disaster? Could we not have headed straight into doom if not for the singular historic phone call by President Jonathan to President-elect Buhari?
Yeah, I think that phone call was very historic, and that phone call was significant.
Yes.
It did a lot of things to change the course of history.
Yeah.
Because prior to the elections, there has been a lot of mobilization. Mobilization to the extreme, the two major parties insisting that they will win the election. Major leaders of both parties saying that, the APC, for instance, saying that if they don't win the election, they will form alternative government. And that mobilizing the citizens in readiness for that kind of action. And leading members of the PDP saying that they will never hand over to Buhari, that Buhari will never rule the country. So
he was not electable.
Yes. So the stage was set. And if you look at countries that have similar problems, that's how it starts. With the drama we had in the morning, people were already primed,
yes,
to cause mayhem. But that historic phone call doused all tension,
yes,
and made the people who will have gone to fight to sheath their sword. And for people who were on the field, you know, it would have been better imagined if the alternative happened. Because what we heard was that people were already primed, waiting to.
So that phone call from the defeat of the president probably heralded victory for Nigeria and for that matter for all of Africa. Would you say?
Before the phone call, I would want to commend before the phone call Professor Jega's poise, calmness,
Absolutely.
statesmanly courage in the face of provocation. Mind you, one misplaced word, a response from him, or a response from the opposing party in that scenario of that day could have been a trigger. Because everybody was watching all over the country. Mind
All
you,
over the world, actually.
all over the
All
world.
over the world,
Mind you,
yes.
the phone call came after that. If suppose somebody from the opposing party came there and confronted this man and they exchanged blows, we would all be exchanging blows wherever.
The blows would just go outside the conference venue.
Exactly.
You're absolutely right.
You get that point. I think it's commendable, and we must ask other Nigerians to emulate Jega, be able to understand the other person's comportment, sympathize, or rather empathize with him or her when he or she feels carried away by emotion. That played a lot. Secondly, the president's statesmanly gesture of saying, I recognize that it's clear. Please, let's stop at this. It served the nation. It served the continent. When you go now, as Otive, you travel a lot, you know, I travel a lot, you travel a lot. When I attend the international conferences now, they say, are you from Nigeria? I said, yes, I am. I'm from Nigeria that practices advanced democracy. Otherwise, you would walk into a scenario like that and they say, but what's going on in your country?
Therefore, we learned a lot. And of course, I wanted to also mention that Professor Jega taught a course that day too.
Yes.
There was a little course that he taught to a particular person and probably also to people that were watching. But I think that Nigerians, you said, should be proud of what happened that day. And that we learned a lesson. But there are also lessons learned all across Africa from the whole election process in Nigeria and from the way we concluded it.
Yeah, before you talk, I think one whole thing that happened is that Buhari won an electoral victory. Undisputable now. Jonathan won a moral victory. And the nation won an overall victory.
Yes.
And so it's a win-win situation that the entire continent, nay the world, should copy from.
Yeah, I think there is a lot of lessons that Africa and indeed the world can learn from the process. You will recall that when Jega was appointed in 2010, there was little time to prepare for the 2011 elections.
Absolutely.
And so after the 2011 elections, there are a lot of things that the commission did, which other commissions across the world need to learn from. One was that they prepared a comprehensive strategic plan with clear program, quarter by quarter, for 5 years. So they were clear on what is to be done, who is to do it, and the cost implications. Secondly, there was a lot of focus on people. Institutional reorganization, the Electoral Institute got a new leadership in the person of Professor Abubakar Momo. So they did a lot of things in preparation for the elections. Now, they also did a study of previous elections, including the 2011 elections, and looked at the problem areas, leading to the introduction of the card reader, and more specific focus on collation issues. But before then, I think one of the greatest lessons is what we have always known in organizational studies, that for success in terms of implementation, there are three main factors. One, strategy. Two, operations, including the processes, mechanisms, and systems. And three, people.
The elections, did they reveal any tribal, religious biases that we have to deal with in Nigeria?